Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is, James. Always good to be in your presence. Always good to be able to talk to the community about what's going on.
Yeah, can you believe it? We're already in 2018.
Yes, we're already there, and we thank God that we're moving in a way that will be productive for the community.
Yeah, I want to thank our sponsors, Lee, Castle, and Crawley, attorneys at law.
Stuart Mortuary, we hope that you will give them an opportunity to handle your bereavement situations.
Or prearrange.
Yeah, or prearrange. Yeah. And then we have a great school on the Far East Side, Fervent Prayer, Christian ministry there, yeah. Fervent Care Christian Academy. I want to make sure I say that right.
Christian, clean, convenient.
And over 170 children in that school already. We hope that you will give opportunity to that school when your child is in need for education.
Yeah. So we've got a great show lined up for you on today. I think you're going to be tremendously blessed, and you'll benefit from what we have to share with you. We also want to encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, WHMB TV 40, and subscribe on YouTube. You can watch this show after it's over. You can also go back and watch some of the shows that you might have missed. Also, like us on Facebook and stay connected to the show on Sunday nights at 5:30.
And on Fridays at 9:30.
Yeah.
And we're ready. We want you to be a part of it.
Yeah, so stay with us. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. I'm your host, James Jackson.
And I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we're joined by a very familiar face, Chief Bill Benjamin. At least we call him Chief.
Yes, sir.
And good to have you.
Thanks.
Good to have you back, I should say.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you both for having me back.
You're welcome. How are things going on the campaign trail for sheriff?
It's a grind. A lot of it's new to me. I'm not new to law enforcement, but meeting folks and getting the word out that we want to win this race and we want to do some good things along the way. And once we get in, we're going to finish what we started. So it's a process, and we're not going to quit.
Yeah. And what are you hearing out there?
Right now, with the way violence is in the city, that's been my #1 platform to fight violence. I don't feel that you can be in the capital of the state of Indiana and be the leader of a major law enforcement agency and not address the violence that's going on right now. And as you know, both you men know, we were good at it when I worked with IMPD. So a lot of folks understand that #1 bullet point on my platform chart.
Violence is an issue.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the things you're proposing to the community that will curb, or if not only curb, but do away with a large percentage of the violence, if possible?
Well, certainly, Pastor, we're in the public safety budget for the county and the city. Since the merger, our county has grown. My old agency has went to zone policing, and it's not working because they're going from run to run. We're going back to beat policing is what I'm hearing from IMPD. I want to be a part of that with well-trained deputies, and even will submit the proposal of IMPD can train our deputies so that the respect is there and those gaps that are within the bridge are mended and sealed so that both agencies are working together. A lot of folks like that plan. I understand that we have the responsibility of securing the court, securing the buildings, staying on top of the sex offender registry, handling the jail. But we're also a major metropolitan law enforcement agency, and this county needs a cooperation with the citizens to have the two agencies come together and work hard against violence.
So you're saying that they talked merger, but you want to be an advocate to implement the merger?
Well, there's talk of needing help along the way, and violence is everybody's problem. It's not just law enforcement. It's certainly the community, and with what you men do and do well, and I've seen your work and worked with you along the way. We can't do it without the ministers and pastors who are concerned about the community. There's always, I've never seen an agency in any city refuse help when it comes to violence, and that's what I'm offering as the next sheriff of Marion County.
Okay.
That's a big job.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't really see the sheriff too much out in the community. Is that something that is not possible and would become possible if you were to become sheriff?
Sheriff Layton and I have a relationship. He is my friend, but I know how I am. I've always been out in the community, and nothing will change. I've been in the bowels, guts, and trenches of our city, and folks know me, and I know them. Even some of the men and women that have been in the criminal justice system, they know us well. They know my last name well, along with those in the community that are trying to make life better. So I can just only speak for me and my style and the way that I led and the way that I was with IMPD, that I was out in the city to serve, and it'll be the same way as the sheriff.
I think that's remarkable. I think that we need a type of logic that will bring that type of attitude to put us in a position to where we can curb it and reduce violence. Like you said, it's everybody's problem, and it's more community-minded than law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
At this particular stage of the game, we've got to learn how to do some engaging. A lot of the engagement that's going on now, from what I see, is not genuine engagement, because engagement in these type of situations is where people are out in the trenches and in the guts of the city, talking to people, trying to galvanize people to where they can talk about crime in a reduction sense. That's where I am with it.
You know, we had no problems in 2009, 10, and 11 in communicating with the community on receiving answers to solve violent crimes. We had detectives out there that were gathering and collecting information. We had beat officers out there that were coming off the main thoroughfares on the side streets and going in the neighborhoods, working the alleys. And all those beat officers had information that led to major arrests or solving problems. We were #1 in the nation in 2010 in solving homicides for a city our size or larger. We can get that back again. And I can safely say that I'm the only candidate in the race that has done this kind of work and done it well. I'm the only candidate in this race that has worn both badges, both the Marion County Sheriff's Badge and the IMPD badge, or IPD, for 28 years. My resume speaks for itself, and I have not changed. I do feel like I have 4 years plus to do this type of work and serve our community. So I have heard, and perhaps you men have heard, that some of the detectives are having trouble with communicating with the community on getting answers to violent crimes, especially murder. That did not happen for us in 2009, 10, and 11, and we had to get that trust back with the agencies, and I plan to do it.
You know, we have not a lot of time left, but there's a hot item in the community: witness protection. It's gotten to the point now to where there are those who are of a persuasion that feel that it is viable, but we want to put it out when we want to put it out, and so it's getting some bad traction right now. What do you think about witness protection as it relates to solving murders in our community? Do you think witness protection is warranted? A witness protection program is warranted in our city?
It certainly is, and the monies and the budget should be there for it. I relocated in my career 5 witnesses. I never had a witness hurt. It was amazing, though. I relocated witnesses, and then they would come back for events, and I'd get a notion or a word that they were back, and had to send them back where we sent them, because it's violent in some pockets of our city, and that's why it's needed. But there needs to be a budget in place So there's no bickering or no obstacles in the way to relocate someone who has chosen literally to put their life on the line to give the police information.
Right.
And so all major departments need it, if not all departments.
Yeah. Do you think it would take more than $50,000 to run that?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Bill, thank you so much, and all the best to you and your strength on the campaign trail. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you both for having me, and I'll see you out there.
Okay.
All right. And we want you to stay tuned. We have much more to come. We'll be back after this. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
We have a very esteemed guest here. Before we bring him on, I want to thank our sponsors.
Got some great sponsors, Lee Cossack and Crawley, who are attorneys in our city, doing a great job sponsoring our show. Not only that, we have Stewart Mortuary, who's been around for so many years. We hope that when you reach the point of bereavement that you would consider them to handle your family's needs. Not only that,
Yeah, Fervent Care.
we have
Christian
Fervent
Academy.
Care. Chris, how many children are in that school?
About 160.
That's phenomenal. That's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Been serving our community for over 20 years.
There's going to come a time where Christian schools are going to make a difference
Yes, sir.
in our community.
Yes, sir. And speaking of Stewart Mortuary, financial wellness.
Right.
This is an area, David, that you're very, very familiar with. Define that for our viewers.
Financial wellness is simply this. We have life situations all the time, and one of the ones that we want to focus on is actually three things that could happen to you. You could get hurt or sick. You could actually die too soon, meaning that if you're supporting a family, your family's going to miss your income, or you could live too long, meaning that you could outlive your retirement savings. And as a representative of West Point Financial, we are here to make sure that we're able to assist you in those three areas. We want to be here for you.
All right. Living too long. I never looked at it that way. Outlive your retirement. That's phenomenal. Well, what do you think, Jack?
I think that's important. We've got one of the largest demographics over the next few years will be that generation of seniors that you're speaking of.
Absolutely.
And I've heard it said that one of the most expensive things that you're going to pay for is not your car, not your house, but it's your retirement.
Absolutely, especially if you need long-term care. That's an area of great importance that we're able to assist individuals with as well.
That's phenomenal.
So you say you cannot rely on one resource. You have to have a multiplicity of resources. Tell our viewers how they can get prepared for the inevitable.
I'm glad you asked me that question. First of all, one thing you can do is for those of us who work with an employer and have a 401k or other retirement program, I encourage you definitely to take advantage of that. But also to understand is that not one plan fits all. I'll give you an example. I know of a situation of a very young man. He's 61 years old. His wife is 44, and they both have a 9-year-old son. So the typical retirement plan may not necessarily work for this gentleman, so he needs some additional services. So I encourage everyone is that don't just rely on what you have already set up with your employer. Look beyond that and look into a multiplicity of resources to assist you in that area.
And you can help us with that.
I can definitely help you. We can, our agency can.
And you say it's never too early to plan a retirement. You take gentlemen like us, we're pastors, so it's a little different for us because we're not working for a company per se that's going to give us a pension or something like that. What will be your recommendation to ministers and pastors who might be watching?
I would say definitely find someone that you're comfortable with talking to about your financial future is number one. And number two, understand that as a pastor, you are what's known as an independent contractor. Your needs are not going to be the same as someone who actually is working for someone as an employee. So I definitely encourage you to research your options. And if you choose to work with me, which I would definitely greatly appreciate the opportunity to do so, I'm happy to definitely sit down with you and talk about what your options are.
So West Point Financial Group, is that your company?
As a company I work with, it's been in existence since the 1940s,
Okay.
and we have over 200 agents here in Central Indiana, so we have hundreds of years of combined experience working with our clients.
Brother Jones, you and I go back a long way.
Yes, we do.
And now that you're wealthy and I'm getting old, is there anything you can do to help me? You know, you're wearing a bow tie now. You look like you got plenty of money now. Is there anything you can do to help me? Could you cut me a check?
He's got
after
some
the end of the show?
information for you.
Yeah.
You know, I have some information for you. That's number one. And number two, we can talk about some other services that might be beneficial to you. Depending on your situation, I have to be very careful because I work in a very regulated industry, and everybody's situation is different. One thing that might be of consideration to you might be an annuity. Eventually, somewhere down the road, we're definitely happy to talk with you about that.
Thank you so much. You're not going to help get me started. You're just going to talk to me about it.
I'm going to talk to you about it first and foremost as number one, to make sure that you understand really how an annuity works and what it is and how it can best service you. And then number two, I'm definitely going to get you started. But the first thing we must do is make sure that we inform our clients of what their options are.
Yeah, you're doing a great job on this interview,
Yeah.
David. I mean, I have to say so myself.
Thank you, sir.
And certainly, David, your purview with regard to financial wellness is much wider than ours. This is something you do every day. The average American does not have $1,000 saved in the bank.
Absolutely.
That's really serious. Why do you think that is?
I think we live in a society of instant gratification. In other words, we want to have the iPhone 10 even before it even comes out. We want things now. Actually, we wanted them yesterday. That's the reason why we don't have that much savings that we need to have as actually consumers in America, most particularly in the African American community. And we also sometimes think that today could be your last day. And it could be, don't get me wrong. However, let's say, praise be to God, we're able to live beyond that last day. What are you going to do then?
Yeah. Most people think they're going to live out all their years, of course.
Yeah. Another thing, how is business with millennials?
Business millennials is very interesting. Sometimes with millennials, once they graduate from college, and I've been there before, not as a millennial, but as a recent college graduate, you think, wow, this is impressive. I'm now earning money. And we think that, hey, we're just going to actually reward ourselves with the fact that we're now college graduates. But what we have to understand as millennials is that there is a future that could be out there for us if we're fortunate and blessed to have that future. And to be able to enjoy the fruits and the blessings of the future, we need to prepare for those things right now. And that can be done with strategic financial planning.
All right. And you talk about being able to benefit from an insurance policy before death. Just kind of give us a brief summary of how that's done.
That's an excellent question. Typically, your employer offers something that's called term life insurance. In other words, as long as you pay the premium in your term life policy, you have the policy. If you ever leave your employer, in most cases, that term policy will not go with you. If you have a whole life policy, universal life policy, that policy allows you within a certain period of time to draw money for that policy to cover their expenses, or you can even borrow against that policy. In some cases, individuals are able to afford certain things like maybe to purchase an automobile, or even to fund a college education.
All right, David, thanks for the insights you've shared with us on financial wellness. Hope to have you back soon.
I look forward to coming back, and thank you very much.
And we want you to stay with us. Also, you can go to WHMB TV 40 on YouTube and become a subscriber there. Like us on Facebook. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. I'm James Jackson, your host.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And I'm your producer, Faith McKinney.
That's a great guest there, Bill Benjamin,
Yes,
running for sheriff.
Running for sheriff, David Jones, the money man.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, he's the money man, and so we're going to talk about that on our show. And good to see him, a young man trying to be financially stable and help others to become that way as well. You know what I liked about the interview with Bill Benjamin, Faith, is that he gave a strong impression that he was for one of the crises in our community, witness protection program, and he feels as a candidate running for sheriff that a witness protection program needs more than $50,000 to function.
Yeah.
When you have somebody to come forward, talk about crimes, talk about what has transpired, he says to us that at least we ought to be able to protect those individuals until adjudication has taken place.
Absolutely.
And I think that's,
Yeah.
and we have people already who are in offices who are fighting that particular situation.
Fighting against it.
Fighting against it, who we put in office, who we need to reevaluate about this witness protection program.
Yeah, I had a dear friend who was murdered, and it's unsolved, in early November. And if anybody knows anything about it, I would want them to be protected. I would want them to know that, hey, I can go there and I can tell what I know and not face the consequences, well, the heavy consequences, which would be harm to my family or harm to myself.
Right.
So
And that's a key
it's
component
important.
to
Right.
solving crime.
Solving crimes, key
Yeah.
component,
Yeah.
and money have been identified, so we're going to see where it goes. But David Jones did a great job telling us about some things that we need to do as it relates to our financial planning for not only ourselves now, but for our families. And we hope that people will get in touch with him.
Yeah, as you pointed out, we don't have $1,000. Most people don't have $1,000 in their savings. So yes, that is an issue. And if there's a way that we can, learn how to, grow our money for our retirement,
Right.
that would be huge.
Have to start early, though. He told us we have to start
Yeah.
early.
You can start now.
Yeah, start now.
Well, I'm only 29, so y'all have plenty of time.
Yeah. I just turned 39 the other week.
This is a Christian broadcast.
Yeah.
We're not on, it's not CNN or BBC.
Yeah.
I have a goal to save $1 million by the time I'm 70,
That's phenomenal.
and I'm 50 now. So, and I've calculated that, and just really hoping to be able to do that.
You on track?
I am getting on track,
Good.
and that's a challenge to do.
Yeah, it is.
That would I'd have to save $4,000 a month.
And especially when kids, you still have kids who have not.
They ask me for money every day.
Yeah, every day.
If I had that back, just about, I could do it.
Yeah, you'll make it.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining us. We really enjoy having you with us on Sundays at 5:30 and on Fridays at 9:30. We'll see you next time on Real People, Real Voices.